And here we are.
And here we are. Yeah. So welcome to our Total Traffic and Conversion broadcast. We're going to be talking today about integrated marketing for total traffic and conversion. I'm here with Betty Withrow, Roy Dickan, and our special guest. Betty, maybe you can introduce your guest here.
Okay, well, this is Michael Kristiansen, a gentleman that I recently met online in my networking activities. And we had a very pleasant chat the other day, which went a lot longer than either of us expected, I think. Michael has a ton of experience in video marketing and bringing people together for video events and all kinds of other great marketplace activities. I'm sure I don't even know the slightest, I probably know a small percentage of what Michael actually does and what his experience is. And so would you like to tell us more, Michael?
Oh, you're kind. You're kind, Betty. A few years ago, I stepped up to doing more video by doing video production parties. And the first one I did was at a beautiful resort called the Camelback Inn. And, you're testing a new idea, but the real thinking behind it was to give people as much value as possible. So I put a $99 price on it, and I gave everyone a $20 voucher out of that so they could order food and drinks or whatever and just have a good time. But when you have 25 people, you're creating a situation where you can deliver a price like that because you're doing a group as opposed to doing one-offs. And I had a person there that knew the founding of the Camelback Inn and gave the history about that. So he kept the crowd interested. And I just peeled people off and put them in front of the camera. I had a great videographer that did the work. We had 4 different sound devices for capturing audio. And the reason you want to make sure that you're duplicating that is to make sure that you can get some great audio, because a video just isn't going to do it without, clean audio to go with it. And lo and behold, 3 of them did not deliver, but 1 was perfect. So that's a good reason to do that sort of thing. But the whole idea behind the video production party was to help people, and I had plenty of people come up and shake my hand and say, "God, I'm so glad you did this," because they really weren't in the position to spend a whole lot of money on a video. But it was really about who they are, a little bit about themselves, and a little bit about what they're offering. That's pretty much done in with a 3 to 5 minute period. And there's some ad-libbing, and there's a little bit of scripting in it. So there's an opening question, there's a middle question, and then there's a closing type of question, so the person knows that you're starting to wrap up. And we were able to get through 25 videos in 2.5 hours. It was a great experience. But the thing is, that's what you'd call a paid lead generator. Because they come back to you now that they know you're an expert in something and they're following you. You've got a new connection and you can offer your other services. That certainly happened. So by either teaching or giving some people something of value, that's the bottom line. You're able to create that the number of leads and and amount of interest so that business does follow, as opposed to just doing one-on-ones and the networking way where you're trying to get your name out there and find out who those people know, who they might be able to tell about you. So these days I'm looking to try and improve people's ability to network efficiently with 4 different digital tools. So that's my story. That's where I've arrived today.
Now that's fabulous, Michael. And I can relate to this thing. You got plans A, B, C, and D, hoping you're going to get some good sound out of one of them.
Hey, redundancy. All right.
Yeah, Alan's in the house here, but I don't know. His camera and his microphone's off. I'm not sure. Oh, there he comes. He's back. Let's bring him in.
Okay.
And Alan Holmes. And Betty, would you like to introduce Alan here?
Sure. I would love to introduce Alan. Hi, Alan. It's good to see you here. I'm about to introduce you as the master connector, which I know that you are. Alan is a networking force of nature. He's out there looking for people who add value and are ready to serve our communities in different ways and connecting them. He's got a site that's called Your Destiny Starts Here, and I met Alan a couple of years ago, and he's a great guy. So that's all I can tell you. Alan, would you like to tell us more about you?
Oh, it's muted there.
Let's see if I can. Can I unmute it?
You're muted, Alan. We need your sound.
Yeah, he's trying to work on it here. Oh, there. That looks promising. Okay.
Okay, good.
Do you want to say something so you can make sure it's working?
It looks still like he's on mute. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
And frozen, maybe.
Okay.
What's the site again? Your Destiny?
Your Destiny starts here.
Starts here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just talk a little bit about, we're running under the umbrella of total traffic and conversion. And it's Roy and I started this. We started doing some projects together, and then Betty and I started doing some projects, and then we decided we should do it all under the umbrella of total traffic and conversion. And then we've been looking for people like you, Alan, and Mike, who have your own unique spin to marketing and traffic and conversion, so that together we can provide some very deep and wide services for our clients and help. So that's why the part of the discussion here. And Mike, you were just saying how the video can really help with the messaging, and you're thinking, what's your usual context that you use for the video, like networking or landing pages, or what kind of things?
Well, I'm planning to put up a web page that's dedicated to them, a landing page that has a little bit more information and a call to action if they want to put one in. And I give people the rights to use their video any way they want. It's their video, so I don't keep rights on them. I think that's the best way to really help people, not put a handcuff on. Yeah. The other thing is an e-magazine, what you call a flip book for short.
Oh yeah.
To build it so that you can put their video on there. But let's say I'm doing Greg Dixon right now.
Yeah.
And Greg, you've got a great information. I find out that's not just one thing that you're into, but you've got several hobbies and different things. So what I do is try and personalize you over a couple of pages in that ebook, and then we add in pages on your referral partners. So as a group here, what we're trying to do today, that might make a lot of sense, is to put together a flip book that has us all in there, so that you can give it to someone. You get a new connection, and I'd like to introduce you to the people I'm working with. And so that way you could do that. Same thing with a mobile app. Mobile apps, you can put the video on there, and you can also add in your referral partners. And when it comes to digital business cards that are kind of popular today and make a lot of sense, I'm using something I learned 20 years ago, helping a little girl that had in a salon that had no clientele. I made her a business referral card. And when I went back in to check on her, see how it went, she had 5 inches tall of these cards that came back. Because I told her to give away 2, 3, or 4 of these cards to every client, so that every guest client, whatever you want to say in salon language. But people tell people. So that was one way to get word of mouth working for someone. That was a simple business card. So now that we're in the digital age, make it dual use, that it's a referral card as much as it is about your business, because then you're helping your circle of people, your interior. You can belong to a network, but you want to build your own network within a network of people you want to work with. So that being the idea of what I'm going after. But we could be doing that among ourselves here, is to build an e-magazine, put everybody in there, and so that when you introduce someone, they see what everyone does. And that way, over time, we can design each page so that it looks integrated, that you have an integrated service that the 4 of us do in different parts of what we do. I mean, that's just ideas I'm throwing out there.
Well, that's a great idea, Mike. And I have some played with the flip book idea too. It's pretty fun, and I've seen some really good ones, electronic magazines. So it's more than just a business card. It's a bit of a experience.
It can become a business in of itself because the client wants something more. So, that way you could provide more services. But we're here to build traffic, what you do, here to get qualified leads out of it, and also to help people connect with those leads and make something happen.
Yep.
It's hardly ever the person in front of you that buys from you. It's who they know, because they may know people that need it now. I may need to think about it. I don't have it the budget. I may take 6 months, but I'm back to you because I have learned that you are the authority. You guys are the experts. And when you've got that kind of trust going for you, people come back, even though they didn't buy from you right away. I've had people come back to me 2 years later after meeting me, because that's when they needed me. So it's really timing. So it's not the person in front of you. It's your ability to get your name as top of mind in their mind when they can recommend you, and then give them the tool that makes it so smooth and efficient that the recommendations and those referrals come at a much faster pace than the way they do today. I mean, it can be accelerated. That's my vision as far as working with different networks. So I'm not looking to start a new network per se. It will have some aspects of networking, but it's really to support members of all networks because they all are missing the right tools. All these networks do, in my mind, is create an organization with rules and bring people together so they can create synergy. Some rule making is stricter, like BNI is probably known to be the most strict. And then there's others that are don't have any limitations, and then they don't work for that reason. So, it's a matter of getting the tools in people's hands that will actually help them build strong relationships faster. So that's the game.
That's perfect, Mike. That's totally in line with what we're trying to do here. So Alan's having trouble getting on. At my last networking group, I suggested that everybody do everybody else's presentation. So Betty, do you want to talk a little bit about Alan?
Sure, I'd be happy to talk about Alan. As I said, Alan he's a man of heart. Okay, he's ready to help people. He'll step into the gap if he knows somebody that needs what you offer. He's ready to connect you to, and he likes to say that he networks in reverse. I mean, he markets in reverse. In other words, he's putting people together and knowing in his gentle faith that it's going to come back to him. I met him a couple of years ago, as I said, in where did I meet him? I think Blitzer, and then at Happy Neighborhood Project. I mean, he gets around. So, and we recently reconnected after we hadn't spoken to each other for a while. I did a personal presentation, Power Pack, for Alan, and it gave him a boost in confidence, I believe. And he took some of what I wrote and has it on his website. So I consider that validation too. And when we reconnected more recently, a couple of weeks ago, I went, he's got more than a digital business card. He's got a whole system on his site where you can come on as one of his peeps and get the connections and the leads that you need to have. I know he does have technical difficulties where he's living at this point. However, hopefully he'll be able to get on this broadcast today and speak for himself.
Yeah, no, and in the very least, we're going to put links to his website and more information about Alan, and we'll we'll go from there. So,
word to Alan, Betty did a great job for you being on the hot seat for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Well, the whole idea behind what we're doing here is to bring together a synergy of our different abilities and talents and our motivations, because in this new age that we're in, with being able to connect with each other electronically all over the world, we can move much faster than we used to be able to. And there's no time for each of us to learn each other's skill sets, even if we wanted to, even if we had the bandwidth, there's not time. So instead, put everybody who has these amazing abilities in the same room, working together, and that's how we all grow.
Yeah, I think if each one of us focuses on what we do best, gets better and better and better at that, and then gathers together with other people that they can collaborate with, I don't see where that can be beat. That's just an equation that I think works without challenge, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah. So maybe for our guests who have just popped in and don't really know us, could you just introduce a bit what your superpower is in this group of total traffic and conversion?
Are you asking me, Greg?
Yeah, Roy. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Well, my expertise is really helping business owners get found online, but not just being found online, but being found online that people are actually looking for what they provide. So there are no tire kickers. It's the beginning of developing a relationship with a person who actually wants what that business owner is offering. And to me, that's extremely important. It's been working very well without collaboration for over a decade. But now I see that when someone, and Greg was really the first one that added to this whole thing, because with all the leads that I can help a company bring in consistently, they still have to convert those leads. And that's where Greg is so valuable and can help in those ways. And then when I met Betty, what she does is she develops content that is as the business owner would be speaking to his ideal prospects. And that's exactly what is needed. That's the kind of thing that I try to do, but don't have time to do it or cannot do it as well as Betty can. So that's what I'd like to do, is continue to add people that can possibly be as important as I am for every client that I have. And maybe that the reverse is true also. And it really doesn't matter who starts the whole process, because all of us could end up contributing in the long run.
Yeah, thank you, Roy. That's very, very good. So we have a sort of retainer that the three of us and referral partners offer that covers a fairly comprehensive set that covers what Roy does for getting people known locally, if that's what they want, getting their websites to be highly optimized so that Google's happy, because if Google ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And then Betty and I have been working with a few people with their presentations, much like Mike does, and that's led into developing some online courses, and then of course marketing all of this stuff. So, and together, and with what Mike does and what Alan does, and a few of our other people we've had last week, we had a couple of other guests on who have specialized knowledge, and we have an interest in serving the dentistry niche for people who want to expand their dental practices. And so we had a guest who's is as niche as you possibly can be. He does the voice messaging on the phone systems for dental practices. The reality is every business that has a phone system could probably use him, but he's been focusing for over 25 years just on dental practices. Yeah. So do we any questions or comments here that we can further the discussion here?
Well, I have a comment. One is that each business has a different set of needs. And we work really closely with our clients to determine exactly what it is that they want to accomplish in their marketing. Like, for instance, when I'm writing copy as a business, not for a business, the first question I ask the client is, what do you want this to do? And when you know what you want it to do, whether it's your written content, video scripting, whatever it is, then we can target the way that we approach your topics in such a way that it's positions you in your prospect's mind and makes them more likely to actually buy from you, which is what we're here to do, right? So bringing it together and understanding how we can streamline your effects, save you time and money, and get the results that you want is what we're all about. There's no two. I'm also a book creation coach, an author, and a ghostwriter. Okay, and there's no two projects that are remotely alike. It's just not. You talk about a genre. Okay, fine, that's a big term, but there's no two books that are alike at all. And it's the same thing with our clients. Our clients are unique businesses and individuals that deserve the time and attention and expertise that we can provide.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I agree with that. I have, if you were to look at my current projects and clients, the only thing that's in common is me.
Yeah.
Because they're all kinds of things. So it makes it fun and makes it an adventure for sure. And I think what makes us a little bit different from some of the other outfits is, it's easy to go find somebody who'll give you advice, right? They sort of a business coach or a mentor, and they'll tell you what you should be doing. But then most people are stuck, says, well, how am I going to do that? So what kind of sets us apart is we will make suggestions. We will talk to somebody and figure out what they're doing. And what in my point of view, what we're trying to do is fill in the gaps. So many people usually do one, two or three things really well. And then the rest of the stuff they haven't maybe even thought about doing, or they don't want to do it. And that's where we come in and we fill in the gaps so that it's a more balanced way of presenting everything. So we get stuff done. Just do it.
Right.
Yeah, I found that every client that I've run into, when they figure out what it is that they want to do, what's their approach going to be every day, every week, in order to accomplish their goals, there are a lot of things they don't really want to do. And sometimes it's because they don't have the capability, but other times it's that they just don't have the time. And other times it's they have no desire to do those things, even though they have to be done. And so that's why we want to be able to offer everything that they don't want to do, but realize that they need to do what they've decided is important. We want them to be able to outsource it. And that's why what we're doing today and on these calls is so important, because all of the things that they may want to outsource, even though Betty and Greg and I can do a lot, we may not be able to do all those things. So the more people that are involved, the better we can serve each of our clients. And we can also offer them additional things that they didn't even realize they might be interested in. And I got two examples on the dentist situation. One, I was having a conversation with my favorite dentist who's trying to open up new offices in my particular area and add people of a worldwide expertise to actually perform a lot of these services. And one thing that we discussed today was there are a lot of people who are disabled who don't have the same capabilities that we do to be able to use the internet, but they want to. And some of those people want to find a dentist. And so I want to give him the capability that allows people who have, maybe they're blind, maybe they can't handle a lot of movement on the screen. It drives them, I don't want to say crazy, but it definitely bothers them. And all of those things can be handled. So that I'm going to help them with next. But the other thing that was interesting is about dentists is I think about the kind of dentists we want to look for, want to grow their practice and add different locations within a small geographical area. But I've now run into one that actually wants to be nationwide. And wow, that's a whole different opportunity that I think we can handle, but it requires a little different approach. So there's nothing that I feel we can't do. And the more people that we can collaborate with, the more I feel secure that there's nothing that's going to come up and bite us because we didn't think about that one.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. That's very good. And along that lines, Betty also has a connection to dentists. So you ghost wrote a book a few years ago. You want to tell us about that?
Sure, sure. So the top cosmetic dentist in my area, Dr. Jeanette Kern, had decided to retire, but she didn't want to really retire. She wanted to become a dental success coach and help other dentists because she had the experience that you get out of medical school, you're idealistic and you don't quite realize that it's actually a business and you need to approach it like a business. Well, she figured that out and her practice became very successful. And she had done a video training, and the marketing on it wasn't very stellar apparently. And she decided that she was going to go ahead and launch a speaking career instead because she could reach a better audience, speaking in front of dental associations. So I took her transcripts and turned them into her book. Ghost wrote her book for her. And in the process, I learned a lot about a lot of things, like how to use disc profiling to create successful interactions among your staff and between your patients, the need for certain types of support, like having a good on-hold system, and other things like that. And it was a great project. I learned a ton, and it's a great book. It's on Amazon. It's called Start Here, Your Guide to a Successful Dental Practice. I'm not on the byline. Why? Because I'm the ghostwriter. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you're right, as you, not for you.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Our joke is if people are a little bit hesitant about themselves, we can invent them.
Yes, that's true. If you need a boost in your image, you tell me who you want to reach. What do you want them to know about you? What results can you provide? And how are you the only choice? And I can write some things for you that are quite persuasive, and you don't have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting because now you've given me another idea. The dentist that wants to expand locations, but also wants to add prominent people who are also speakers could actually benefit by having a ghost written book and maybe other things that could improve their speaking careers, which are actually a large part of them being attractive to patients. Because when they're known statewide, nationwide, or worldwide, and can actually perform some of the things they're talking about, this makes them exceptionally valuable.
Right, exactly. And a lot of the things that I write for people or work with authors who do want to get that extra credibility for getting on the stage by having a book. It's an important tool. And but yes, Roy, you're absolutely right. One of the things in the book is be prepared for becoming famous. People, what it's like to actually be famous and have people recognize you when you're going out to buy underwear and things like that. So, yeah, but it's if you really want to take it to the next level, there's nothing like speaking. It's great.
Yeah. So, Roy, you said something about accessibility for your client, right? And a weird notion came to my mind. If somebody created an AI-based American Sign Language chat, so in the middle of your broadcast are doing American Sign Language.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So maybe there's somebody out there who knows something about it. Hey, come talk to us.
Somebody who can do it. Yeah.
Because right now, as we speak, LinkedIn, as we broadcast, it puts on like the captions.
Right.
So usually it mangles what we say, but it's it's interesting that they do that live. They put text captions on the screen as we're going. Anyway, Mike, do you have any more comments here? Or
Well, I can give you a dentist story.
Okay,
please.
I had this gentleman. His name is Gary Core, and he had a dentist clinic in Glendale, Arizona. And the name of the dentistry was Apple Dentistry. So here's a guy whose name is Gary Core, and he names his business, Apple Industries. It's kind of amusing. But when people find out about me, they usually come to me with some kind of difficult problem they haven't been able to solve anywhere else. And so I get some weird stuff that comes my way when it comes to some of the areas of fields that I've done in the past. I was Google certified for a few years. And I looked at this guy's program and I saw that the firm that he was with, I figured out they were charging a 40% commission. And he was paying $4,000 a month to compete with the other guy that was in Scottsdale that was competing for the number one, keywords on Google. And so that was a back and forth fight he was having, what you might call a pissing contest in my book. And so I came back to him and said, I can get you as many leads that you're getting now competing for it, spending $1,600 a month. And that's when they had the Google rankings on the side where you have the top 3. And then if you remember, they had the 8 along the side. It was in those years. And so what I did was I positioned him into the 3rd position. And lo and behold, he got as many or maybe even more leads, spending less money. So sometimes, it's an ego thing what your client's into, and they think they got to be number one when that isn't actually. You have to look at what they're spending, what they're really spending for what they're getting. If you want to compete for number one, and you should be getting the most leads in that position, but when you look at the cost per lead, I dropped the cost tremendously and still got him as many leads as he could handle in the 3rd position. So I saved a lot of money. That's sometimes you have to look at things, what's the goal of the client? And,
Yes.
sometimes you got to rein them in and educate the client, because if you don't educate them, they may tell you to make the website blue. They like blue. And the reason you chose yellow is because there's a psychological reason why you did put yellow in there. I know a story of a guy that was building websites, and it's exactly what happened to him. So what it told me was a lesson in that, and it's a lesson for us, is that you have to position yourself as the authority, and you have to let the client know you're hiring us because we are the experts. We are going to listen carefully to what you say, but we're going to come up with a solution, and you have to trust us with the solution. You may want a different color or something done a different way. We're going to listen, but we have reasons for doing it the way we're doing it. And what that did was bring way down that level of control that sometimes the client wants to put over the designers or the web guy. So you can position yourself with the authority that way in the beginning and set almost like setting the rules in a nice way, and being pleasant about it. But that way you don't get so much mission creep. You've defined what you're going to do for them, but the client's always going to ask and ask and ask. And if you haven't laid it down in a good way, that they know that asking is going to cost them something, then they're going to be a lot more pragmatic about what they're asking. And you don't mind doing it, but you may have to tack on some extra billing because of the amount of time it's going to take to change a direction or pivot a little bit. So getting the plan down and the strategy down in the beginning, getting people to agree to it. That was a lesson. With the guy with the PPC program, that was an interesting lesson of bringing him in. There was a client out in California, and they still have the site. It's called My Girlfriend's House. And they came to me. I was blogging for them, and I was getting them leads blogging. That was a time when you could keyword things and then direct the keyword to a specific page on the people's website. But they actually came to me for SEO, not blogging. And when I looked at their site was 11 years old. And it had all of if you remember, sites used to have those long, long trails of numbers and letters and everything. Yeah. You didn't know what that page was about.
That's right.
And there is a mod type thing you can do. It's called mod something that you could do to kind of shorten the amount of time it takes. But they had thousands of pages. This was a big site. And when you look at the cost of that, I could have made a pretty penny, but I knew in my heart it wasn't going to do a damn thing for them. That wasn't the problem. It was the blogging that was going to solve the problem. And that did. And what I did was I SEO'd the specific pages I was writing about, and they had to. They were the products that they have were the support type of products that network marketing people use. They could be badges or this or that, just these little tchotchkes, a lot to do with gifts and gift wrapping.
Mhm.
They were into that. And one of the main products that they used a lot was cellophane. And to get them on the first page with the word cellophane, I actually blogged and posted for 6 months straight every day about cellophane bags.
Yeah.
And the discipline of doing something like that and being creative really trained me to think more out of the box of what you can do to create content. Not that I'm a copywriter per se, but when it came to blogging and keywording and stuff like that, they're short articles. It's not like writing a book by any means, but it was effective. I got them there. Then I had another California client that was owned by a Chinese company, and it was called Harvest Imports. And they wanted to get keywords, doing the blogging and keywording and getting the pages up on Google, for certain keywords. But they did not want to show up on their customers, their clients. Their clients were all kinds of stores and things. They did fabric. They sold fabric wholesale. So they were a wholesaler. When you go to their page, if you're a mom and you're just looking for a roll of yarn, you're not going to find anything there because they're built to sell pallets of yarn. That was their business. So you had to be careful how you worded the pay-per-click. That was a problem. But the other problem was they did not want to show up on search pages where the people that are buying from them, they did not want to look like they were in competition with, with their customers. So that was a very unique problem to solve. And I was able to solve it and get them results. But it gets you to think a lot. So some of the things I've come across and experienced weren't your average Joe. I have built 200 Facebook pages for businesses as well, 2006, 2009, in that range back then. And, that's pretty easy, pleasy, straightforward stuff compared to the art of PPC, the art of blogging and keywording to get onto the first page. And of course, that's all changed. I mean, this is, 2023 now. So none of the stuff that I used to do applies at all. In fact, it's the worst thing you could do. What I had to do is stay 6 months ahead of my clients and constantly change the way I was doing things to stay up with where the direction Google was going. And then I just got to the point where I liked content. I thought content was really important. But it always came back to word of mouth. How do you spread word of mouth in an effective way that doesn't cost people an arm and a leg, where it nets? Because right now, Google is such that you have to look at the lifetime value of a client because the cost of getting that client's about a break-even point, maybe even lose a little bit. So it's not for everybody. At least that's my experience of what I've seen, the last few years of that. I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention anymore because I jumped on LinkedIn and become very good with LinkedIn. It's one of my power areas that I do good there. But then
LinkedIn,
I got involved. Yeah,
LinkedIn is extremely important right now. And what I've done is probably picked up where you left off and made sure I understand what Google's interest is now.
exactly.
Yeah, because that's the important
I know
thing.
you're on the up. I know you would be doing stuff in 2006, Roy. I'm just giving you my history of what I experienced with it. So that only shows you that I have respect for where you are, what you're doing today, because I know how hard that work is, and you have to specialize.
Believe me, Mike.
Specialize, and that's heck. You guys are doing dentists big time, so that's a specialization in of itself, for sure.
That's where we're headed, anyway.
Well, that's one of our focuses.
Yeah, that's one of our niches. Basically, we, as Betty said, all of our clients have different interests and needs, and we try to come up with a solution. Like you were talking about writing, the one thing that all four of us have in common is the importance of writing.
Yes.
So, like that's I kind of think if you're a human, you're a writer, but almost all marketing based on copy. Even if you're doing video, the video script's a kind of copy, and if we took the words out of it, it's from the search engine optimization, you don't exist, right? But I sometimes tell people you have to put your ads together as though you were trying to write to somebody who's blind, right? So how does it read for somebody who can't see the screen?
Yeah.
Exactly. You have a whole other communication style. I found LinkedIn, I didn't think for the longest time, honestly, Roy, I didn't think LinkedIn was a good place for content that great. Things go through the feed, but I discovered 3 weeks ago I was wrong about it. And the reason I say that is I finally got around, okay, I will try this and see what happens. I've signed up to do a weekly newsletter, and I'm kind of staying on that track, but I've only done 3 newsletters. But I thought I'd get maybe 5 or 6 subscribers a month. That's what I thought would happen. And I'm sitting there today with over 700.
Yeah.
And the beauty about that is I know that they get a notification when you drop a new article. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it still goes through all 10,000 followers that I have. It will show up on their feeds and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin, Roy and Betty and Greg, if you're doing things on LinkedIn, is finding posts that are already trending really well, that are kind of fun, interesting, and then you got to write something pithy. I say pithy, but something of interest of your perspective, and share it. Post it on your site. In other words, repost it, and then in reposting it, LinkedIn gives you the option to drop it into one of the groups you belong to.
That's right. Yes.
So I have found that to be quite interesting of how it's how I'm getting subscribers out of nowhere. It's. I'm very happy with that, because when I start to release some other event type stuff, I've already got a warm audience. And then the networking that I did for 8 years for alliances, I know a couple thousand people from that. So, and they know me. I mean, that's cool. So I know that I can draw people into a networking group if I wanted to. So I'm looking at how could I do that in a way where I can start getting them the support tools that they really need and help them along. And then, of course, they're going to have other interests and other needs. They're out there trying to get their name out there as it is. And they may need what you do, Greg, or what Betty needs, or especially with PPC and stuff that you're into, Roy.
Well,
those are things I would not get into that, but I'm building, a network like that they're going to have these wants, desires. So if I can put you in front of them in the future, like I throw an event, I choose 3 speakers. Oh, gee, this event's got Greg, Betty, and Roy, and you're doing your own presentation, and I am recording it for you, going to give it to you so you can use it, set you up with a landing page so that you got somewhere to send them, and they put a link in there to take them right to whatever you're offering them, whatever you want to take. So those tools in of itself would be a great help to start working with you and give you something that I can actually just give you and get you started with it without charging you. And you guys could be that inner circle with me, because I'm just starting out here. I realize I need that little bit of an advisory council type people. You're both, all 3 of you you all have the experience with doing something like that, and you all have your niches. So you're not kind of falling over each other so much about business and stuff. You're actually helping each other. I think that could work very well with what I'm doing. And then you can help me by inviting people to go. And when they pay $23 for a ticket to come, they're getting a 1-year certificate for website hosting. I give that to them, 1 year. And it includes email. So there's really no cost to them. At the end of the year, I'll be charging them like $12 a month if they want to stay, if they've done anything with it. And they can give the certificate to somebody else and gift it to somebody. It's $150 value. So they could gift it to somebody. So that's cool. And then I want to build them their own digital business referral card. So the first ones might have me on it, because I get a little self-promotion there, because if I invited the person in, I'm going to build the business card with all their contact information, maybe a video if there's one available, and then put myself on their card, not too conspicuous a place, but in there where it says recommended by Mike Kristiansen. And that could be recommended by Betty in the future, because she invited a few people in, or Roy, you did. Greg, you did. And that in itself helps get your name out there with other people that are sharing your card. And so when it comes to somebody needing a writer, and I recommend Betty, I'm actually sending Betty's contact information, everything about her, and letting Betty know I just sent her card out to someone. And that card has, so they lose it or they don't use it right away, they still have it in their contacts because it's digital. So when they look it up again or whenever they get there, they remember and they see that I'm the one that recommended them. So I'm basically validating Betty or you guys with your different cards. But the thing is, you do that for other people, you can start to see how that kind of steamrolls in with building a referral card business out of that, where you're starting to get business out of it because you're running into people that need something, and Roy happens to be the guy. So I would send Roy's card that says, and it just has me on there, recommended by Mike Kristiansen. So that way they know me, they've talked to me, now they remember, they haven't met Roy yet, but they see Roy's face, they see what he does, that we put some great contact information, we might put his social media on there, the things you could do with a digital card, in other words, normally. But putting in the referral section there changes the game, is what I'm trying to share with you. Because I've seen it happen with paper cards back in the day when I did it with the salon with a girl, how that changed her life, really. We could be doing the same thing within our own network. So things have a way of mushrooming out.
Yeah.
And I've got an affiliate program on the back end of it, so that when you do invite someone, you make a couple bucks. Doesn't sound like much, but it can mount up pretty quickly when people come a couple times a month. Imagine 6 months have gone by and you put 15 people in there. You're making enough to pay for BNI and another group.
Yeah.
And you got your tools for free. That's what I'm after. I'm trying to net it out, because I think right now it's not the profit line per se you got to be worried about. You got to be worried about building people together that need each other right now. These are very interesting times what we're going through. So if we're able to reduce the cost of things that normal people would look as overhead, BNI is not happening for me. I'm not getting a return on investment. Guess what? I quit, but I spent the whole year and they're not giving me a refund. I mean, that's, I think, how they work.
Right.
But, and then there's the others that are just charging you monthly, whatever, and you drop out because you're not getting a return on investment. What people don't realize, and what you have to do is build the culture in a network. And the culture is what? It is that people are more valuable than the money.
That's
the connection, because Betty may never buy anything from me. I don't hate Betty at all, because she sent me 6 people and the 3 of them bought from me. I love Betty. See, that's the position and how people should look at things.
I agree.
They don't normally.
Yeah.
We can freaking teach them this stuff. It's not rocket science, but there's nobody out there teaching the hospitality way, the etiquette way of making things work. And they giving them the tools so things happen at the speed of light, because that's the internet. So we can do that. Then they can build up and do a little bit more, and they get an all pass for me, so they can go to the different events, all the events, instead of paying a one-time cost for coming one time each time they want to come. They can save a lot if they wanted to come once a week, kind of thing, by stepping up. But when they step up, they're getting a mobile app, for God's sake, and the cost of this stuff. We're doing a giveaway basically in the beginning, and it may come a time when I can raise prices, because we've scaled so much that we can raise prices. But right now, when you're starting something new, you want to make sure that it pays off for the members coming in, because they're your betas. They're your beta testers.
Yeah,
you got to treat them royally and all of that as you build that in. And so we can have an event that has all 3 of you guys on there, and it's getting taped and so that you can use it and put it on landing pages and stuff. And that would help the group here, I think, help you guys. And it certainly helps me, because I have things to show other people.
Yeah.
So it's really a win-win situation for me when you're starting to launch something new.
Yeah, we enjoy collaborating, because we all have a different perspective, and we think we can come up with a solution that's much better than any of us would have come up with on our own, and including you. So I'm curious, how does the mobile app fit into what you're doing? Are you offering that?
Yeah, it would be, it'll be it's a step up. The first step of people coming to paying $23 to getting a free, a certificate for a year's hosting, and they're getting the digital business card right off the bat, $23. They never have to come again. But if they like it enough and they see what everyone else is doing and they see people that have stepped up because they want to come more often, they'll buy the $59 a month program, and they get the app for that. Now, apps can cost $30,000 if you're doing custom. I'm doing a templated app that you can add a lot of functionality to it, and it looks really good. It looks like a mini website in a way. And you can add in your referral partners if you want to on something like that, so that when you're introducing people, the reason I think the app is so important is because it triples your real estate on somebody's phone. Because once you got your business card in there, you're done. I mean, they got to find you. They got to look at their contacts and find you when they want to look you up. But an app, you do something useful for them, for up-to-date information or whatever, and you've got your information there, and you've got your other referral partners that they can look at. That's kind of a valuable app. They'll keep it on their phone. They may not put it on the first home screen, but they'll put it on one of their home screens. And that way you've got a lot more real estate. You got a lot more real estate.
So I think the four of us should get together and have a little discussion about some of these things.
Yes, I think we should.
Yeah, fine. So this is really good. And I guess
I've got sorry.
Yeah, no, you continue.
The first newsletter that I did, I put 4 links in there that actually show examples of what I'm talking about, because it's hard to give you the concept here without visualizing.
Sure.
So I can send you the link to the first newsletter I did that has that, and it also has a link in there to a press release where I started to run the numbers and the talk about what the concept is, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we can put that in on our website and also in the chat for this broadcast too, if that's okay.
Yeah, do that.
Any last comments before we sign off?
I just want to say thank you, Mike. I'm really glad that you came, and I'm sure that we'll talk again very soon. And I think we'll be doing things
it's mutual. Together. I'm starting to discover that I might have my brain team here. That we work kind of that way, because that's kind of where you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the perfect size of a mastermind is about 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so we could double our size with that if we find the right people that fit in with us, with what they're doing, and there's not much crossover, or it's the fact that people do things in different ways. So they could be in the same field, but they're just doing something different. Yeah. But bringing enough value to the team, to the mastermind, and ideas, and wanting to plug in, that could be a good thing as far as to grow. So I would think chiropractics, they usually have money. Some are broke, but dentists usually have money to spend on advertising and such. Doctors, the medical field's got plenty of specialists in there that have the deep pockets to actually put out the kind of money you need to run a decent campaign when it comes to providing content, providing a pay-per-click, leads, that sort of thing.
I totally agree.
What I do is I'm taking the green road, where it's evergreen. Yeah. Something that when you can build a relationship, it's not that it costs you something, but the way I'm doing it really is not going to cost them anything if they bring in a few referrals kind of stuff.
That's our approach too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to zero out the cost in a sense, but at the same time becomes evergreen. It lasts forever. They stay for a very long time. And if I'm putting in the hooks in there with the type of tools that they love and use, how are they ever going to? No, that's how I look at it.
No,
they won't want
it. Everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody wins. Let's say they're not getting one damn customer client out of the network they're in. Well, they take the tools that I've given them and they move to another network, find one that works for them. Yeah. So to me, that's more freedom for the people themselves, the small businesses that really need the help, as opposed to people running these big organizations. I mean, I made a few $100,000 for the founder of the alliances. I got him I got him monetized. The first 2 years were critical because he had nothing. And so I know that part of it. So I know I'm competent enough to start my own group and do something, but just to do events. But I'm really going to put Roy Dixon, you're part of, say, BNI. I've been using that as an example. I would put your BNI right on your business card, right on there. It's not about TopNet or the name of what I'm doing. It's about what you're doing and who you are. And you can promote your group. Why? Because those people in BNI, what are they going to want? They're going to want you, Greg, Betty. They're going to want you. They're going to want us for things outside of what they need, the services, in other words, to move forward. And they're trying to meet the right people in those networks. But we can get in there and away from all these groups this way. It's like going underneath the circus tent, and we're able to see the whole show.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that's
awesome.
That's what I'm after.
Think about for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play.
No,
go finish your thought there, Mike.
That was just a silly comment. I was going to make a joke. Now I don't remember the joke.
No, we're all open to jokes.
We're into jokes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You can wrap it up then, Greg, if you want to.
Yeah. Well, there's one to wrap up. There was a donkey and a tiger, and they're having an argument. The donkey is telling the tiger that the grass is blue, and the tiger is trying to say, "Hey, look, it's green," and they're having a fight about it. And so they go to the king, the lion, and the lion's going to decide. So the donkey says, the tiger doesn't believe the grass is green. And the lion says to the donkey, if you believe the grass is blue, then the grass is blue. The donkey starts jumping around. He's just so happy. And before he takes off, the donkey says, you should punish him. You should punish the tiger. So he turns to the tiger and he says, I'm going to give you 3 days where you cannot say a word. Donkey leaves. And the tiger says, why? Why are you punishing me? And he says to the tiger, you brought me something that you already knew the answer to. You're smart. You're intelligent. You should know that you don't pay attention or argue with fools. That's more of a lesson, I guess, than it is a joke.
Yeah, that's not a joke.
Politically correct language for it. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to play the little outro video, and you can hang out. We can chat later or not.
We'll get together.
Thanks everybody for coming, and this has been fun, and more like this coming. All right.
Good thing.